What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, cheesy, scratch-made, amazing, homemade dry-cured smoked chorizo turned into a pizza. Coming up. This is some pork. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some chunks of pork butt as well as a slab of some pork belly for a nice 80-20 to 70-30 fat ratio for this pork sausage. And today we're going to be making a chorizo pizza, and there are several ways to go about doing that. You know, you could just use a crumbled loose meat chorizo sprinkled on top of a pie. That would be very tasty. But today we're going to case this up and we're going to smoke it and we're going to dry it for a little bit and then slice it really thin to hopefully get a pepperoni style coin, but with all that lovely chorizo flavor. But like always, when making a sausage, we got to get this meat cubed up so it fits down our meat grinder a little bit easier, as well as chills a lot quicker in the freezer, because we want this nice and cold, especially with a sausage like this, because we don't want to smear the fat and risk breaking that meat to fat emulsion inside the sausage. So just little 1-inch cubes. Unless you get a really powerful grinder, then you could leave it in strip form like this, but I find it always works a little bit more efficiently if they're cubed up pretty small. As for these pork butt chunks, these are all pretty much the right size, but if they're too big, I'll go ahead and zip those down a little bit as well and start getting this weighed out. And just like that, all cubed up. So now into the freezer this goes to get nice and cold for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Spices for our sausage today are made incredibly easy with the help of the Chuds BBQ Leroy & Lewis Chorizo Sausage Starter Mix / Rub. And this stuff is awesome. We've sold a whole bunch of it and everyone seems to really love it. I've seen a lot of people using it on ribs, for chorizo ribs, pulled pork, chicken. You can't go wrong. And not only is this a great rub, but it's also a sausage mix, meaning this bag is rated for 5 pounds of meat, whether you want to make some cased chorizo like we're doing today, or make some loose chorizo or some sausage patties or whatever you like. And there's no binder in this pack, which is actually really good for what we're doing today. And that's because we're making a dry sausage, and the binder really helps with moisture retention, which is kind of counterintuitive for a dry sausage. And there's also no pink curing salt in here, which we're definitely going to need, so we're going to add some of that too. God, it smells so good right off the bat. A lot of warming spices in there. Oh, I'm excited for this one. And for a 5-pound batch of sausage, we need about 5.6 grams of pink curing salt number 1 in, and get that all nice and mixed up. And now that our meat is nice and cold, through the meat grinder we go. And I've got the coarse dye on there. And for this sausage, I don't really want a super coarse grind, but I also don't want a fine grind, like a more emulsified sausage, like going through the smaller die that this thing has. So to kind of get right in the middle, I'm gonna do a double grind on this. Trying to move nice and quickly before this meat warms up too much. So now we're gonna go through one more time. Beautiful. Loving the texture on that, looking good. Still got some particle definition with the meat and fat, but definitely a little bit more homogeneous. So now in we go with our sausage mix and cure, and we'll start getting that evenly spread around. Ah, the smell. And once all the spices are evenly dispersed and there's nothing caked on the bottom, we'll go in with our liquid, which is just some water today. 1 cup, and we'll start mixing this for the next 5 minutes or so until it is nice and tacky and nice and sticky. And just like that, after an annoying amount of kneading, this stuff is good to go, nice and sticky, sticking to the glove. So let's case it up. Going on with some natural hog casings today. These are the 29 mil ones. Tie it off. Snip, tip, and we case away. I'm gonna go pretty normal sized, I think. Maybe a little longer than usual. And roll it up. Link 2, twist it in the other direction. Link 3, twisty twisty. And link 4, twist that up. And we're gonna snip. Do our best to tie this end off. We're gonna go butcher style on these so we can hang them. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this and go right in the middle, give that a twist, and send one of these links right on through the middle. And there we go, all linked up. So cute. But now we repeat with the rest. Link 1, 2, 3, and 4. Beautiful. And just like that, all cased up, looking absolutely beautiful, nice and plump, no blowouts or anything like that. Loving the color of this. Kind of looks like a beef sausage, even though it's all pork, but with all those dark spices in there. Changes the look a little bit. But I got these on a wire rack on a tray, and I'm gonna park this in the fridge overnight to let the cure do its work, let the salt penetrate the meat and all the spices hydrate and all that good stuff. So we'll check back in on these tomorrow. This video is brought to you by Avon. Avon is pioneering fitness entertainment with their mission to end boring workouts and make fitness fun. And I've been using the Avon Strong Rower for the last month or so, and I absolutely love it. It's strength and cardio in one, activating 80% of your muscles for a low-impact, full-body workout. It's a super high-quality machine, and I do love how comfortable their wide ergonomic cloud seat is, and it promotes proper form. And believe it or not, Brooke and I have slightly different sized feet, so the adjustable foot pad is very handy and can accommodate anyone in the family. But the best part of that rower, and the thing that keeps me coming back, is a 22-inch screen. It really does do it all. You can log into your favorite streaming network for watching movies or TV shows. You can watch YouTube videos on there. There's coached classes, and of course a bunch of super entertaining games where you can play against your friends or other members. And like I said, that screen is really helpful for keeping me consistent. Throw on an episode of a TV show, get a good 30-minute workout in, and get out of my head, which is something that I do a lot when trying to work out. And just the ability to keep my mind on something else other than how hot and sweaty I am is really convenient. And those games really are a lot of fun. They also have a gamified treadmill and bike if that's more your style. Not only is the rower super well built and loaded with features, but there's also seamless data and progress tracking. So you can connect it to your phone or your watch and get detailed analytics on your progress, performance, and goals. The Avon rower is a lot of fun to use, and it conveniently stores upright, which is great for keeping it out of the way when you're not using it. So if you want to pick up an Avon rower, bike, or treadmill, they've got their best prices of the year right now, and you can get an additional $50 off when you use code Chuds BBQ 50 at checkout. Again, scan the QR code on screen now or check the link in the description box of this video where you can check out Avon and use code Chuds BBQ 50 at checkout to save $50 off any of their products. Thank you, Avon. 24 hours later, out of the fridge these sausages come. They're definitely dried up a little bit, looking a little more tacky, and they are in fact fully cured. So now we're gonna get them smoked off. So I got them in the old pellet grill here, hanging up from some wires. Took the base plate and everything out of this thing so they can hang unobstructed. And now we're gonna cold smoke them. Bust out the old smoke tube. We're gonna just fill this up with some pellets. I'm going in with the smoked pecan shell pellets because that's what I keep in this thing at all times. And they work really well. Stick this down here somewhere and get it lit up. Beautiful. Now we're gonna let these smoke for probably about 4 or 5 hours. It has been about 24 hours since I've seen you last, and these links hung on that pellet grill for about 4 or 5 hours last night, soaking in all of that lovely cold smoke, but the grill remained off. And then I pulled these off last night and I hung them up in my kitchen to start the drying process. And remember, these are salted, cured, and smoked, all 3 preservation methods. So this is pretty much room temp stable at this point. And now we're gonna let them hang for a couple of days to lose some moisture, dry out, and harden up a little bit. And to be honest, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants on this one, so we may end up cooking these through in a couple days. Depends on how well they dry out in the kitchen, but there they shall hang for the next probably 2-3 days, which conveniently is the same amount of time it takes to make a good pizza dough. So into the mixer we're gonna go in with our water, our yeast, and our sugar, and give that a quick little mix. And then in with our bread flour. I'm gonna go in with a little diastatic malt powder too, help feed the yeast a little bit, and let this come together. And once that's all come together, I'm gonna let this auto-lease on the countertop here for probably about 20 minutes, just to let all that water absorb into the flour, or the other way around. Give that yeast a little bit of a head start to start blooming, and get that gluten building process started. 20 minutes later, after a nice auto-lyse, this is looking good, a lot more stretchy, looking a lot more relaxed already. So now we can go in with everything else, including our kosher salt. I'm gonna go in while it's running. Oh God. As well as a little bit of some olive oil. And now we're gonna let that knead for probably about 6 to 10 minutes. And just like that, we got a nice dough coming together. Still a little bit sticky at this point, but it will tack up a bit over the next few hours. So now out this dough comes, and into a grease bowl we go. And I'm gonna cover this up and let this start rising. 30 minutes later, let's take a look at this thing. Looking good, nice and smooth, and now we're going to start doing some stretch and folds to help build up some strength in this dough. Simply grab a piece, stretch it out, fold it over itself, and repeat that a few times. That's just going to help strengthen up the gluten network a little bit because it's not a very high protein flour, and as you can see, no longer very sticky, so pretty easy to work with. And now we're going to cover this back up and repeat this process every 30 minutes for the next 2 hours. And after 2 hours of rises and stretches and folds, I divided the dough up into 4 equal pieces and put them in their own respective grease bowls like this, and now into the fridge they go to cold ferment for the next few days. And after 3 days of hanging up in my kitchen at room temp, these sausages are looking really good. They smell great, no signs of mold or anything like that. They're definitely looking a lot darker, and they're nice and dry to the touch, but they still do have some give to them, and I think they're a little bit too soft to get some clean slices out of. So we've got a couple options. I could let these hang for another 3-4 days and allow them to dry out even more, but I did a video a while back, it was like 10 months ago or something, where I did a very similar process to this, but let them hang for about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, and they got super dry, and I cut them up and I ate it, and it was really good, but it was almost the texture of beef jerky because it was so dried out, and I don't really want to be putting beef jerky sausage on a pizza because I think it would just get really hard, especially after being cooked in that oven. But fun fact for you, I did keep one of those sausages from that video almost a year ago, and it's just been sitting on my counter, and it's hard as a rock. Pretty cool. But again, no signs of mold or anything like that, so I do have a lot of faith in this whole drying your sausage and keeping it at room temperature thing. But look at that little fossilized turd. It's kind of cool and kind of gross. But again, for these chorizo, I do want to get some clean slices so we get some nice coins out of these, so we need to firm them up a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and cook them. And they're already dried and smoked, so the cooking method doesn't really matter. We could throw these in the sous vide bath, we could pop them in the oven, but I'm going to take the path of least resistance and fire up the old pellet grill. Boop! Got the old Yoder fired up to 195 degrees. Well, actually it's 185, my bad. But on we go with these links. Got them on the wire rack to make sure they are nice and clean. And we're just gonna give them a nice gentle cook and slowly bring them up to an internal temperature of about 150 degrees. Make sure none of them are touching. Maybe get a little extra smoke flavor on them. I'm okay with that, but shouldn't take long. And just like that, about 45 minutes later, these have come up to temp of 150 degrees and are looking nice and plump, greased out a little bit, but very firm, nice and turgid, exactly what we're looking for. So now into an ice bath they go to halt the cooking process, make sure those casings are nice and snappy, and rapidly cool these down. And just like that, I pulled these out of the water bath after they cooled down and wiped them down because everybody loves a clean weenie, and we've got ourselves Sausage Mountain! And these are looking great. Pretty happy with how these are looking and feeling. They definitely feel a lot different than a normal sausage at this stage. They got a little bit more tack to them. They're a little bit harder, pretty firm. And I think this should work out really well. You know, kind of give us that crispy pepperoni vibe as opposed to a normal sausage at this stage. I think if we sliced it real thin, it'd just be pretty greasy and kind of juicy, which is usually what we're after. But because we dried these out, I think it should work out. But I guess we'll have to find out. So now I'm going to bring these down to the Chud shop, see what Bones is doing, and let's make some pizzas. Now, you probably don't need a meat slicer for this. I'm sure a knife would work just fine, but I want to make sure these are nice and thin and nice and consistent, and it's also fun to make Bones clean this thing. And we got it, so we might as well use it. And now that these are nice and cold and nice and plump, they should slice up nice, but I guess we're going to find out. Oh yeah, that's slicing up great. They're so cute, so tiny. Probably should use some bigger casings for this. But nice and thin. And just like that, all sliced up, and that is just one sausage, which makes a whole bunch of this stuff, which now makes me realize how much of this we're gonna have if we slice it all up this thin. But looking good, great marbling on there, good bind, staying together, and it smells incredible. But I'm probably gonna slice up some more to have on hand. And just like that, after a whole bunch of meat slicing, we got ourselves a whole bunch of some scratch-made smoky chorizo coins that should work out perfectly on some pizzas, but I'm very happy with how these came out. And the smell is so good. Next up, let's knock out a quick pizza sauce. Starting with 1 can of some crushed tomatoes, some kosher salt, some sugar, some oregano, and a little pinch of garlic powder. And get that all buzzed up. Beautiful. Beep. And with all of our components ready, it's finally time to build a pizza. So I pulled these doughs out of the fridge like an hour and a half ago to come up to room temperature and warm up a little bit. So I'll throw down a little bit of flour, put it on this dough here as well, and out it comes. Missed the flour completely. Go ahead and flour the top of this thing as well, and we're gonna start forming our pie. Trying to keep it nice and round, but we're gonna form the crust and then start pressing out from the inside. Well, from the middle. And we'll start trying to get this thing stretched out. Judging by the weight of this dough, it's probably going to be about a 14-incher, but I guess we're about to find out. Very easy dough to work with, though. Well, it would appear that I made this a little too big, and it's a little too big for this peel. So I'm going to go ahead and bust out the old pizza screen. Love this trick. Makes life a lot easier, especially on the oven that barely fits a big pizza. So I'm going to hit this with some semolina, just for good measure, and we'll get our dough on there. Nice thing about the screen is you can actually make your pizzas perfectly round, which I'm not very good at if I'm launching off of a peel. Beautiful fit. Next, we'll go down with some of our sauce. This is just a pretty standard pizza sauce, but it's got good flavor, good quality tomatoes. And next, we'll go down with our cheeses. I got a blend here. This is some Oaxaca going down first. Nice little sprinklage here. And then we'll also go down with some whole milk, full fat, low moisture mozzarella. And then after that, we'll go down with some of our lovely little chorizo coins. Just spread them out all over the place. Starting to look like a pepperoni pie, but it doesn't smell like one. We're also gonna go down with a few more things, including some red onion. I love red onion on a pizza, it just cooks right in. Adds some great flavor. And a few thinly sliced jalapenos all over this thing as well. Add a little kick and a little more flavor. This is the nice part about using a screen is that I have no stress right now about this sticking to the peel or anything like that, so I can take my sweet time. And then just a little bit more cheese right on top to kind of fry in all the grease from that chorizo. Oh yeah, looks like a pretty good pizza to me. What do you think, Joe?
It's good.
Beautiful. Let's go out to the oven. Got the old Gosney dome fired up, rocking right around 650 right now, and in we go with this beautiful pizza. Should be a relatively quick cook. We're gonna go ahead and start rotating this for even cooking. And after a few minutes, once that bottom cooks a little bit, we should be able to get it off the rack to make sure we get some really good browning. It's a good looking pie. It's been a couple of minutes. It should be cooked on the bottom, so I'm gonna try and weasel this thing off the rack here. Beauty.
Nice.
Starting to get some nice browning on that crust. Cheese is starting to bubble, and it smells incredible. And just like that, I'm calling this pizza done. So out it comes. Not a bad looking pizza, if you ask me, folks. It looks real nice. Smells so good. All that meat on there. All that cheese. Bones.
Yeah.
You want to make another one?
Why not?
Been a minute since we made some pizzas at the old Chud shop.
Been a minute since you've made pizzas at the Chud shop. This is an oily dough.
That's why there's flour right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to throw it in the air like a pizza
You
man.
want me to? It's a very floppy dough, so I'm kind of concerned about that. It's like it's already starting to get really thin in one spot. That's the problem with these big doughs is it's hard to get them really even.
I don't know.
In thinness. You got a hole, Brad.
I don't see any holes.
You just said there's a hole.
No.
Oh, right there.
No, no one saw that. Did your Nona teach you how to do this?
No. I think YouTube taught me how to do this.
I'm going to cut that so it says you taught me how to do this.
I think you taught me how to do this.
A little Oaxaca action.
All done.
Nice. How badly do you want to put some canned fish on this pizza?
I would put anchovies on this in a heartbeat. I love anchovies on pizza.
It's not bad. We did it the other day.
Ooh, are we gonna do it?
It doesn't add a fishiness. It's more of like a salty umami flavor. It is a little fishy, but
Jalapenos pretty hot.
When I was slicing those on the old mandolin, it was burning my eyes, so this might be a pretty spicy pizza. What a fit. Oh, did I miss the exciting part?
what, getting off the screen?
How'd it go?
It slid right off.
Nice. It's a good looking pizza. How'd it come out? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice toastage. And to finish these off, we're gonna go down with a little dusting of some cotija cheese, and then down with a little bit of fresh oregano to make it look pretty and to add some lovely flavor. Ah, beauty. And after these have rested on wire racks a little bit, just to make sure the bottoms don't sog out, we can go ahead and slice on in and see how they are. Sounds good. It's a good looking pie. Boys, would you like to try some chorizo pizza?
Let's do it.
Let's go for it. Good looking slice, holds up. A little bit of flop on there. Not the best color on the bottom, but passable for sure.
Yeah, hold up.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. That's a good pie right there. Mm.
It's weird. It has like the hint of pepperoni, but it's definitely chorizo.
It's very reminiscent of pepperoni in the texture and like what it does to the pizza with the greasing out and stuff like that, but it's got a completely different flavor profile.
But then it ends up tasting a lot sweeter. Almost like the sauce is not just tomato sauce, but it is. Like
That was
faintly
real good.
barbecue, but not barbecue sauce.
It Yeah, the smoke on the chorizo mixed with the tomato sauce. I could see it going barbecue in your mind.
Yeah. Have you had the Hormel makes a
I've
chorizo?
seen it. That was kind of what got us thinking about this in the first place, but...
I've had it, and it tastes nothing like chorizo.
Really?
Not at all. So this is a nice surprise.
That's really good.
Nice little crunch from the onion, the jalapeno too. Get a little texture.
Background heat from those pinos, too.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I kind of like that dough, too. It's fluffy, yet thin. Works really well. I like this dough for pizzas with a lot of toppings on there, too.
Yeah.
Because it just holds up really well, you know? The one with the... There's that secret hole we were talking about. Let's try that again. It just holds up to toppings really well. That's what we're getting at.
I think if the dough was a little colder, I think it would stretch more evenly. Because it was so warm, it just like the parts just kind of stretched how I wanted.
Yeah, when I pulled it out of the fridge to come up to room temp, I forgot about the fact that it was going to be sitting in my truck while I ran some errands on the way here. So probably got a little warmer.
With the color on the crust right there, it's really nice. It kind of has that like artisan bread kind of crust to the side there.
I do like the color of the crust, God. I've struggled with that in the past, having really blonde crusts, but I put a little diastatic malt powder in this time. Maybe that helped.
What's the ratio, the meat to fat ratio for the chorizo?
Somewhere in the ballpark of 70-30.
It's not like pooling greasing everywhere though, which is nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I did a double grind on it too, so there's not too much big chunkage in there, but it's also not emulsified. And there's no binder in there either, so I'm really glad. I was worried that it was going to grease out a lot because of the lack of binder, but
No, it was perfect.
I'm glad I made a lot of that chorizo. It was a long time on that meat slicer, but it'll last for a good long while when it's vac sealed and in the freezer. It was funny, we were tasting these when they were coming off the meat slicer, and they weren't super pungent. But once heated up, all those like warming spice notes in the chorizo, like the clove and cinnamon and whatnot, is coming through very, very pleasant.
And it works well with the tomato sauce and the cheese. Like it's perfect on a pizza.
That might be our best pizza yet, boys.
I'm going to eat a lot of this.
Yeah, I was just thinking, we still have 2 more doughs. Might have to get another one cooking. And with this adorable last slice of pizza, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely fantastic, smoky, dry-cured chorizo sausage turned into a chorizo pizza. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, I'm really happy with how that sausage came out, and it's a pretty interesting process. You know, I haven't really done a sausage like that in quite a while, but the texture of it when it was sliced up came out perfectly. It was kind of like a pepperoni or a salami that melted into the pizza while also getting a little bit crispy. But of course, bringing all that chorizo flavor with the warming spices and the chilies in there and a little bit of heat, all coming together for a fantastic bite of pizza. And I'm glad I made a lot of that sausage because it's going to hold up really well vac sealed in the freezer for any time I want to make this pizza, and it's definitely something I'm going to make again very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos, and until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!